Hi, friends. I have some interesting beams of light, but look at how light filled this room is for once here at my sister's house in Massachusetts. We are going to do a shorter practice today in hopes of creating some inner harmony by challenging our balance, standing on one leg, which is exactly what I need as I'm still nursing my sprained ankle. So let's start seated and we'll get into a little bit of a pranayama exercise in the same theme of balance with equal parts inhalation and exhalation. So grab a prop to sit comfortably. I don't have any props with me today, but that's okay. I can grab one of these pillows so that you have a neutral pelvis that is going to be a little bit tilted forward. Up. No, it's like the second I walk away from the camera, lighting is different. But hopefully you can see enough and hear me well enough. Let's pull you in a little bit closer, but fidget and tend to your seat so that you can sit upright with less effort. So not laboring to sit tall. And that comes by tilting the pelvis forward. Letting the knees be lower than the hips or equal than the hips, maybe even propped up with another rolled blanket if that's going to help you feel comfortable and relaxed. Tone around the core and roll the shoulders back a few times. How much tension is at the top of your torso? And then lift the arm bones up to your ears. Draw your shoulder blades back and down. And soften that effort. So in the description of today's class, I used two Sanskrit terms, sthira, reflecting our effort and the steadiness that comes from muscular engagement and utilizing that energy, and sukha, which is an ease, a softening, a release. So try to find the appropriate amount of effort so that you're supporting yourself, but that it's not rigid and tense. You bring in that sense of ease or just a sense of softening. So you feel this place of balance between two opposing energies, effort and ease. And then feel your breath. Where is it free and open? Where might it feel stuck or restricted? Can you find a sense of ease to the expansion of your breath by widening the rib cage as opposed to laboring and forcing and controlling? Just create a little bit more space through the ribs. The lungs will happily dance in that space you give them. And that will bring in a sense of ease to the effort. I have first finger and thumbs together in Yana Mudra, which is representing bringing source and spirit and you together, joining. This practice is also timed with Libra season, which is in line with the fall equinox or the autumn equinox. And again, this is a sense of balance in nature where the hours we have of light and dark are more equal. And that can create a natural place of balance within us. So start to think about your own relationship to balance. Can it be work life, enough time for you and your family or your partner, or the people that you tend to, or your pets? Right? Do you give too much? Do you take too much? Thinking of this idea of balance, reflect where you are held in that harmony and where things might need to shift and change to create better balance. And then bring your hands up to your heart. Out of loving kindness toward yourself, think of these things. And then set your intention to support the change. What would life look like in that state of perfect balance? And I resist the word perfect, or I should anyway. Nothing's perfect. But if we had enough time to tend to the things that we want to do as opposed to doing all the shoulds, right? How much of your life is dedicated to the shoulds? And can you find a little bit more time and energy to the things that you want, desire, that bring you more ease to the effort? You might have seen or heard or known that I was recently assisting my teacher at a yoga festival. And one of the things that she consistently kept saying, which has stuck with me, is that we all know that we can do more, but can we do less? Let's keep that in mind today as we move through this practice. So what does life look like in a place of harmony? See that in your mind's eye, see that for yourself, but then feel it in your entire being and believe that it can be something obtained. And then take a nice big breath into your heart. And exhale, release the intention. Your hands open the eyes if they're closed. And we're going to get right into our pranayama. So switch your legs. Fidget again to find the comfort. Inward spiral both eyes helps to support the pelvis, the thigh bone into the socket, and the pelvic floor. So you can take a little self-adjustment there. And then shoulders up, back, and down. Hands can be anywhere that you feel comfortable. I like palm down. It's very grounding. I'm an air sign. I'm up in my head and I'm spaced out a lot. Any opportunity for me to ground is welcomed. Maybe you're very earthy and you want to rise up from that very steady, rooted place. You can flip your palms up. Whatever feels more comfortable for you. And then we're going to start with 4 seconds for each, the inhale and exhale. I'll give you then an opportunity to increase it to 5 seconds, maybe 6. We want to, again, keep it in an easeful expansion. We don't want to over effort. So if 6 seconds feels like it's too much and it brings in the sense of frustration or even anxiousness, of course, that's counterproductive. So drop it back down to the amount of time that feels very comfortable for you. And then I'll also invite you to add in a retention at the height. You see how that feels? That tends to be a more comfortable place to retain the breath. And then we can also add in the retention of the exhale out of the emptiness. And that can, again, maybe not feel so comfortable, in which case it's counterproductive. So we'll try, and then you go to where you find that perfect place of being held in fluid breath that's equal parts, and again has this nice balance of effort and ease. So let's start with a nice big cleansing breath together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. 2 more like that. Inhale and exhale. 1 more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Here we go. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Let's try 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Decide here what number is your easeful balance, and we'll begin again. Take a nice big breath with me in and out. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm actually going to give you a beat without counting so that it's not going to confuse you if you're not on the same number as me. That's what I meant to do. Okay, so here's my second count. Okay, so wherever you are on your breath cycle, let's begin together on the beat. Finding what pairing is a good time for you. And then decide for yourself on this beat if you want to make the retention. So try it out. And then if you do, can the retention be the same amount of time as your inhale and exhale? So everything's the same amount. And when you're done with your exhale, we'll let the breath return to a natural rhythm. And just notice how it feels in your body, in the breath, in your mind, and in your intention. And then make any adjustment to that intention if need be. And then we'll come to tabletop together here. So from hands and knees, I'm just going to warm up the body. So tucking the toes under, arch the back, look forward or up. On your inhale, I like to flatten on the feet, rounding the back on the exhale. Take your time in this oppositional movement through the spine of flexion and extension. Inhale and exhale. Again, maybe there's a pause at the height and depth. Tap into your intuitive knowing, maybe with closed eyes, to allow your spine to dance around this foundation. Elbows can bend. Maybe you want to step a foot out to the side. Right? Give yourself permission to explore the movements that your body is craving. Your body will tell you if you just pause and listen. Eyes closed is helpful if it's a comfortable thing for you to do, to tune into your inner landscape of the body and what it wants. You can push back to child's pose, pull forward to cobra. You can move your hands, you can flip your palms. I'll give you a little bit of time here to take for yourself as you explore. Maybe the head wants to move around. Where can you find sticky places of resistance and create a little bit of freedom there with the breath in stillness or movement? I had a very long day of travel yesterday, coming back from California. I did some yoga in the airport. Gave some people some entertainment as they stared and giggled at me. It's okay. My body needed it. So, what does your body need here? And give yourself that. And even twist with one arm underneath from table. Couple more breaths as you balance yourself out. If you've done something on one side that you didn't get to that second side. Make sure the foundation of your palms is very supportive with fingertips, base knuckles rooted. And let's take hovering tabletop. So hands can be a little forward of the shoulders. We're going to float the knees a little bit. And then notice where your hips are in relationship to your knees. And the further you push them back, the more effort it takes. So where is this sweet spot of enough effort to keep you engaged and interested instead of, too easy, too hard? Find that sweet spot. Maybe it's thighs vertical, shins horizontal. Your hands can be anywhere in relationship to your shoulders. That helps you find that same expression of enough effort, not over-efforting, not under-efforting. And make sure the arms are plugged out of the neck, hugged in tight to the socket. And maybe that lets your head move around more freely. That's the word I wanted. All right, we're going to start to lift the hips and pedal out the feet, warming up our dog. This Decide if your hands are too close now. We don't want to be a short dog that doesn't allow for length in our spine or a deep stretch in the hamstrings. And remember the way in which I teach down dog, it's long, hands to feet, not short. It doesn't matter. Here's a short dog. Does not matter if the heels are touching the floor or anywhere near the floor. In my opinion, in my teaching, in my education, there is an understanding of this long dog creates length in our spine. Length in our spine is going to help create stability and a good working relationship to then stretch the hamstrings here. So give yourself some space. From your hands, lift your armpits, heavy your head, hug your ribs in, send the tail up, heels back. 3 breaths. Lift your heels high. See if you can tiptoe with straight legs to the front of the mat. This is just a little training exercise of hollowing out the lower belly and the mula bandha, the root lock there, and some core engagement and shoulder engagement. And then when you get to the front of the mat, walk your hands to block so your legs can press straight and your spine can maintain as straight as it comfortably can. Maybe your hands are above the knees to create the length in the spine. We have this idea that our forward fold hands need to be on the floor. It's not true. The best forward fold is straight legs, ball and socket over the ankle, and a neutral spine. So if you're rounding your back and scooping the tail under to touch the floor, you're stretching your back muscles more than your hamstring muscles, and over time, doing yourself a disservice for the discs of your back. So walk your hands up as high as you need to so that your hips are in line with your ankles and your legs are straight and your spine is neutral. And that might be really, really high up on the thighs. And then tone the quads. Toning the quads forces the hamstrings to relax. And that means, again, deeper flexibility and stretch. Right. Feel the arches of your feet lift and pull that earth energy into your legs. And we'll take 3 more breaths. Soften into the knees, let the hips sit back. And with a straight spine, inhale all the way up to stand. Reach out overhead. Grab your left wrist, lift and lean to the right. Inhale, center. Grab your right wrist, lift and lean left. Inhale, center. Left wrist, lift, lean right. And then twist your chest toward the floor. Legs are still strong. Now twist your chest up to the sky. Stay over to the right. Inhale up to center. Grab your right wrist, lift, lean left. Twist your chest to the floor. And then stay to the left and twist your chest up to the sky. Inhale, come up to center. Soften the knees and again fold with the neutral spine. Once your hands touch blocks of the floor, press your legs straight. If pressing your legs straight in the back rounds, bring your hands up your legs. And then exhale, deepen into the hinge. With, I don't have a block to really show you, but think about, I use this here. A trusty box of tissues will help. So if this is a block, we're going to widen the feet and bring the block inside the right foot. Bend your right knee, hand on the block. Your hand could be on the floor, but let's bring it inside the foot if that's comfortable for you so that the arm and leg are touching. Left leg goes straight, twist the left arm up. And then feel left hip pull back, chin into the throat so the neck is neutral, and feel your crown stretch away from the spine or the hip. Exhale, bend your left knee, switch sides. Hand inside the foot, arm and leg are squeezed together, right leg goes straight. Inhale the right arm up. You can hear my voice picking up speed. I want to like get so much in. Let's try and find a nice balance of our breath. So feel right hip moving back, chin in, crown stretching out of the hip. Exhale, bend the right knee. I'm not going to use that, but if you keep the block there if you need it. Switching sides again, left leg straight, left arm up. This time, left arm swings over ear, palm facing the floor or the right, so you're externally rotating the left arm. And again, left hip pulls back, and now stretch crown and hand out of that hip. Exhale, switch sides. Hug the left side together, right leg straight, right arm twists up. Inhale it forward, right hip back, crown and right hand reaching out of the hip. Huge breath in. And exhale, switch sides. One more variation. Right side bends, left arm twists up. Swing it overhead. Reach it all the way around to the right hip. Press into your right hip or waistline and then pull your left shoulder blade to the spine, left shoulder to the sky, chin into the throat, crown stretching out of the left hip. Big breath. Inhale comes all the way around, switching sides. When you're ready to inhale, right leg straight, right arm up. Overhead. And then up and around the back. When your right hand makes it right to the left waistline, pull up from the shoulder. Shoulder blade to the spine, chin to your throat, big breath. And then inhale, switch sides, soften both knees, straight spine. Inhale all the way up to stand. Thighs back, hips in line with heels, ribs into the spine to open the back bend. Open the heart and gaze to the sky. Let your arms drop alongside your body. Find neutral spine in Tadasana. I'm going to step my feet hip width. And just take a moment as your feet root down, pull up through the arches, pull up through the kneecaps. Right, if I just stand in like a relaxed place with no effort, my arches collapse. I get a little bow-legged or knocked-kneed. See how that collapses? Then my hips usually get forward. The lower back collapses. There's no muscle energy in this. The heart rounds, the shoulders round, the head goes forward. This is a non-efforted stance. And so if I feel the feet root me down, my arches lift, my kneecaps lift, my pelvis stacks over the hips, the heels, belly tones, shoulders roll back and down, throat can pull back, my crown lengthens up. Here's Tadasana, mountain pose with a lot of effort, but then watch the softening. Find that sense of balance within you. Feet rooted, energized up from the ground. Neutral anatomical alignment. And then soften the effort. Nice full breath. All right, so from the top of your mat, we're going to step the left foot back for warrior one. I like wide stance because I have pretty wide hips, but feel where you are in that harmonious place from your feet to your hips to feel really comfortable to square the hips forward. I teach warrior one with shorter stance because in my practice, I feel better in my body to access warrior one with the focus of hips squaring forward, as opposed to a long stance and the hips being somewhat open. And that's, a deeper bend to the knee. In my opinion, warrior one isn't meant to strengthen this front quad. It's meant to stretch this back leg, calf, ankle, hamstring as we focus the hips squaring forward. And then over time, maybe the knee gets that bent and we can use it as a quad strengthener. But focus on how your foundation can help your hips square forward. And hands on the hips can help you see where the hip bones are facing. That makes sense? Okay, so feel your right thigh pull back, your left hip roll forward, and then from your feet, tone the legs as you pull in. We're going to stretch the front of the left hip here by taking left arm up and overhead behind the head if it's comfortable. Right arm is going to grab your elbow and help guide it to the midline. Press your head back into your arms so you're forcing the front of your neck to relax. Right hand can stay on the elbow or come to the thigh, soften the right shoulder down. And then from strong legs, hug your belly in. We're going to take the left elbow up and lean to the right. You should feel the stretch here somewhat through the whole front of the left side of your body. Sometimes the right side might not love the way it feels, and then you're just over-efforting. So pay attention to what the lower right side of your back is doing and find a sense of ease. Soften the effort. On this inhale, we'll come up to center. Hands can be pressed overhead in prayer as you drop the head back to look up. If your body hates that, you can look forward. Maybe your hands come to the hips or anywhere in space that help you feel, again, this balance of effort and ease. In Sanskrit, we have a word for that. It's called sukha. Pure, right? A balanced place of harmony. Has everything it needs, feeds it. It's that yin-yang symbol, right? It feeds each other. The effort feeds the ease, and the ease feeds the effort. It creates a balanced structure. So find that, and then we'll take one more breath. Right leg presses straight. Keep the tone in the quads and the muscles of the legs. And from the hip creases, the front of the hip, we're going to hinge and fold to preserve, what's this fold called? I wanted to call it something else. It's eluding me today. Pyramid is the slang term for it. I like to clasp my hands on the front of the right thigh, toning the quad and pushing up into my hands. Notice if the hips are opening to the left. Feel from your right big toe, rooting down, the right hip is tacking back. That's going to help the left hip come forward. My ankle's not loving that right now. So I'm just going to adjust myself. Shortening my stance to help my ankle feel a little bit more supported. How do you feel in your body, and what adjustment can you make to, again, find that sweet spot? Meet your edge. My teacher says when we find that sweet spot meeting our edge, we meet the divine within ourselves. Love that. Find that. All right, soften into the right knee, look forward, pick up the left heel. We're going to step down to the right foot and draw the left knee up into the chest. And just find balance. However high you want to pull the left knee, keep energy moving through the left leg by flexing your ankle or pointing. Do something so there's action. This is my injured ankle, so I'm going to keep moving it around a little bit. See or connect to the floor through your standing leg. Tone the quad. Notice if you're pushing your hips forward, draw the thigh back, hip on heel. Tone around the core, lengthen up through the crown. Step down into your left foot, warrior 1 second side. Right leg slides back. Find a nice width of your feet to feel hips are squaring forward. Notice where they are. Maybe put your hands on your hips to see and feel. Right, gain that body awareness. If you don't have mirrors or open and close a few times to really feel. Anchor through the back heel, tone the quad, make any adjustments, take a moment. Feel like I over-explained things on the front, the other leg. So I'll give you a second here. Right arm goes up, overhead, behind the head. Left arm helps guide it more midline, press back into it. Left arm can stay or come down. Hug through the midline, lift up through your right elbow, lean left. Don't open the hips to the right. And feel really grounded and hugged in. Hi, fam. Hi. One more breath.
I'm next!
Hi, Jenny. That's my niece.
And the quiet.
Inhale, come up to center. Find a good place for warrior one. A couple breaths. Again, give this side what it needs. Does it want to do the same thing? Does it want to do a different thing? With our theme of balance, right? I'm not trying to balance right and left sides of our body. I want this pose on this side to feel balanced. And so think of it in that term. And then enjoy one more breath. And then clasp or whatever hands you like. As we press left leg straight, left big toe anchors down, feel the left hip pull back. Strong legs, lifted spine or lifted heart, long spine. And give yourself a few breaths here. Deepening into the hamstring stretch. Start to look forward, soften the left knee, right heel lifts. Find your gazing point for balance, right knee comes up. Any amount, arms anywhere, but stack the left hip back on the heel. Keep energy moving through your right leg with some movement of the foot or just an action of flexed or pointed. And then hug up through the midline, core engaged, crown lengthening up. And then notice, make a little mental note if this side is easier or more challenging to balance on. Step down into the right foot. Inhale, reach out and up. Grab your left wrist, lift up, lean right. Inhale, center. Grab right wrist, lift up, lean left.
I'm going to save your roll for later.
Inhale, center. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend the right knee. Inhale, left arm up. And exhale, bend the left knee. Inhale, the right arm up. And exhale. Soften the knees with a straight spine. Inhale all the way up. Reach overhead, hands to prayer into the heart. All right, we're going to come into the right leg. Lift the left knee just to hip height. Notice any bad habits of pushing the hips forward and leaning back. Press the hips back on the heel. Even try to draw the left hip down to square the right. And then we're going to soften the right knee, step the left foot toward the back of the mat, and open into warrior two. So now we can grab or get into a longer stance, front foot to back foot, so that we force the right quad to do a lot more work. Our hips are more open to the long edge here. Now, when we get this longer stance, notice if your hips want to go forward. That's like the easy place. Right, so try to press the left thigh back so the ball and socket, this divot here in the back of the hip, is in line with your ankle. Right, when we pop it forward, the hips face more forward. When we bring it back, the hips face more open. But don't force the pelvis to do something it doesn't want to do here as we open to the long edge. It happens over time. Take an inward spiral of the left thigh, which is going to pack the joint and give you more range of motion and hopefully more comfort and ease to open to the long edge. Float the arms up. Send your gaze forward. See your intention in the distance as your right hand is pointing to the direction in which you're intending to go. Bringing your mind's eye towards it. Take 3 more breaths. Feel the strength and power of your legs. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Left hand can touch the leg or not. It can wrap around the back. as your right arm stretches up and back. And then inhale, right arm's gonna peel you up. Crawl the left foot in. So you're powerfully strong on your right standing leg. For half moon, right hand's gonna reach diagonal from the pinky toe and lift the left leg up. So here's where your block can come in handy again. Lifting the floor so that it's not so intense on your standing leg. But try to get the left leg in line with the left side of your torso. Right, so if my right hand's on the floor, my torso is diagonal to the ground instead of parallel, so I'm going to lift my leg higher to create that straight line. So play with that. And then as you settle into this shape, flex your lifted leg, push through your standing heel, and try to squeeze your right sit bone into the midline. It's going to give you a little bit more stabilization in the pelvis. Exhale, left hand to the floor. Flex your left toes to face the floor and lower your left hip to parallel your right. It's going to get more and more challenging to square the hips here. Strengthen through both legs. Hands on the floor is great. So let's see if we can lift our warrior three a bit and challenge the balance. Hands can again clasp on the thigh like we did in pyramid. Parsvottanasana. There we go. It came to me. Right? Ooh. Shifting my gaze would make me lose my balance. Right? That's not a bad thing. Maybe you shift your gaze to the side as opposed to straight down. See what happens. Feel head to heel a straight line, left heel, and then just keep that as you come to stand. Shake up the legs. Ooh, let's do it on the other side. Step down into your left foot. Find your gazing point. Right knee comes up to hip height. Try not to hips forward, lean back. Hips back, straight spine. Try to lower the right hip to square the left. And then we'll soften the left knee to step the right foot to the back of the mat, finding our warrior two. So again, create a little bit more length through the feet. Try to spiral the right thigh inward, but then open the hip. Spiraling the thigh inward packs the joint, then the pelvis can move over the head of that femur, which is a closed chain here into the foot. And then left knee can bend. Sitting nice and straight up from the hips, arms float up to T, gaze forward. Right? We don't want to live in the past. We don't want to live in the projection of where we want to go. We want to feel really strong, capable, balanced in today so that where we intend to go is what drives our actions. Right? Not where we've been or who we've been. We need that information to, again, feel more balanced and structured in who we are today. But there's that fine line of being attached to it. We're limited by it. Feel it as a motivating force to keep you aligned to who you can become. Firm up the legs, stay grounded. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Right arm can wrap the back as opposed to being on the leg. Big breath in. And then we'll come on up. Right foot crawls in. For half moon, left hand goes diagonal to the pinky toe. Find that position of your right leg to keep that diagonal line straight, head to right heel. Right arm can lift. Squeeze left sit bone into the tailbone. Use energy through both legs to find balance here, not just your standing leg. The action of your lifted leg is important. And then are you over-efforting? Where can you soften and find a sense of ease to the shape? Soften your effort. Look down if you're not already. Right hand comes down. Square the right hip to the left. Supported warrior three.
Find your gaze to the floor and then start to walk the hands up the leg. You can clasp on the thigh and push the thigh back just like we did in Parsvottanasana. Maybe your hands want to find a different location, or maybe you challenge your balance by sending your gaze somewhere differently. That's not right. Somewhere different. Head to right heel, nice, strong, long line. Keep that as we just come to stand. Shake out the legs. Whew. Finding Tadasana. Stack the hips on the heels, tone the legs. Lengthen up through the crown, drop the arms. Find the appropriate amount of effort and ease. Take a moment there. All right, we're going to go a little bit quicker through that second sequence, adding in. So, inhale, reach out and up. Grab your left wrist, lift up, lean right. Inhale, center. Grab your right wrist, lift up, lean left. Inhale, center. Stepping into your right foot, left knee comes up. With right hip back, see if the left knee can come in tighter now. Step it back to warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, half moon, follow left foot in. Warrior three. Standing split, hands crawl closer to the foot, head to right knee, left foot lifts higher. You can also grab the right calf, pull yourself in. The left hand might go wider as like a little flying buttress to keep you a little bit more balanced. Soften the effort. Are you over-efforting here? Or are you under-efforting and just like lax through your standing leg and barely extending through the heel on the lifted leg? Even though my left toes are pointed, I'm still reaching through the heel. Look forward, crawl the hands forward. Find balance by bending into the right knee. Left knee comes up. Step into the left foot. Figure four, right ankle, left knee. So we're just stretching now the right hip since it just did all that work. Notice when you come to your figure four, if you need balance, go to the wall. You can always go to the wall and then little by little take your weight away from the wall. Regardless of what help you are using for balance, check in on the hips. Is the right hip a lot lower than the left? Flex your right foot, anchor it into the thigh, and lift the right sit bone equal to your left. Notice when you do that, you get, this is my challenging ankle. I'm just going to come to the wall and give it some support. Notice when you square the hips, you get more stretch. Let's call that better. But where is that balance for you today? Where's that harmonious place of meeting the divine? All right, now we're just going to come up. Right knee in, here we go, starting the second side. Stack the left hip. See if the right knee can come in tighter. Step it back, warrior two. Do all the things. Inward spiral, hips square, open, left knee bent. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, half moon. Warrior three. Standing split. And start to look forward, find your gaze, your balance to come up right knee to the chest. Different story for me on this side. Right foot steps down, figure 4, stretch the left hip. Flex your left ankle, try to level the hips, lengthen the spine, shoulder blades down the back. All right, moving on, come up to stand, left knee to your chest, step the left foot down. All right, so left foot takes our weight, right knee comes up, we're gonna just add on. Left hand to the hip, right hand to the ankle. Let's give ourselves a nice quad stretch. Always come to the wall. All the same things apply. Right? We want to keep the left hip in line with the heel, knees in line with the hips, and the hips level to each other. It's so easy to collapse. Not a whole lot of energy moving through my left standing leg. It's just easy. Right? From your root, pull up and in. Right, that automatically leveled the hips. Just spent a lot of time with my cousin in California, who is also from Long Island. That's where my whole family's from. And I just heard my Long Island accent kick in from spending time with her. Even though she's been in California many, many years, she's kept her Long Island accent. It made me giggle. Sorry, I had to just say that. Okay, so nice quad stretch. Scoop the tail under. It's going to deepen it. Or maybe pull the heel in a little bit tighter. Also notice if it's easy for you to lock the knee. It's easy for me to lock my knee, so I'm going to soften that a little bit. Softening the knee is the softening the effort in some way. It's actually using less effort. All right, step into the right foot, left hand to left ankle, quad stretch. Do all the things. Root down, pull in, tone the quad, level the hips, scoop the tail. And breathe. Okay. Where are you over-efforting? Where are you under-efforting? Find that sweet spot. All right, step into the left foot. Right knee comes up, figure 4. We're just adding on, option if you want. Left hand, right foot, right hand, right knee. I can just see my hips are off. So try to level the hips, find your gazing point. We're gonna come up with the shin. This is pigeon in a different relationship to gravity. Flex the right foot, stay active. Check in on your standing leg, hips back, hip on heel. Trying to level the shin to the floor, but don't force it. Switch sides. Figure 4 first. Take your time. Flex your foot, level the hips. Right hand, left foot, left hand, left knee. Maybe we come to standing pigeon. Hips back, don't push the hips forward and lean back. Right hip on the heel. Try to square the hips and maybe get the shin more parallel to the floor. Don't force these things. They just give you an opportunity to create more stretch, more flexibility. Right? If you're over-efforting it and forcing it, it's going to create potential injury. Soften your effort, find that balance, big breath. All right, step down into the left foot. Tree. Right foot on the shin. Big toe can stay on the floor or not. Try not to push on the knee. Maybe you come all the way up, heel right up to the top of the thigh there. Can the right hip lower and square the left? Doesn't have to, but it could, creating a different relationship. Externally rotate your right thigh, left hip on the heel. Hug in through the midline. How do you want to find your balance in this pose with some maybe arm variations, right? I'm Italian, I talk with my hands, and that motion, it was throwing me off balance. Right? That's an opportunity to strengthen my ankle, my connection to the ground, my relationship to being off balance.
I got playful with it. I didn't say, oh, I suck. I can't balance. I'm not good at this. Right? So tune into the inner narrative. Where are you over-efforting? Where can you soften the effort to stay balanced? Maybe you want to challenge the balance. And the left arm can come up. Right arm can lay on the thigh. And you can stretch to the right. Back up to center. Step down into the right foot. Tree, right foot. Left foot comes up to a place. And again, we don't have to balance our right and left sides in this pose or any pose because we're not balanced right and left. So what foot variation here is going to give you balance on this side. And then pull up from the ground, tone the quad, externally rotate left hip, try to square the hips. Here are my hip bones. Right thigh pushes back. Find your tree expression here on the side. If you want the challenge, left forearm can come to the thigh and right arm stretches up and over to the left. All right, one more standing balance pose. Come on down. Give it a little shake. Root down into your left foot. Come on up. Take the externally rotate like you're holding a platter here on your right hand. Bend the right knee and reach for the arch of your foot. My thumb is right in the middle of the ball mound. We're going to come into dancer pose, Natarajasana, and combine some things we've already done, potentially. The invitation is there. So quad engaged. We're going to draw the left arm forward and up. Kick your right foot into your hand and extend the hip just straight back. Don't let the knee widen out to the right. Stay upright in the spine and even hug the ribs in and find the back bend as the right thigh is reaching up and back. And then you decide, staying here. This is classic, traditional Natarajasana. Show you a side view. Or shift your gaze to the floor, hinge at the hip, and take this version. We're not opening to the side yet. We're going to keep the knee in line with the hip, squaring each other to the front of the mat or the floor, depending on how far you're hinged. And then maybe we take this into Ardha Chandra Chapasana, or half moon with the foot. And then you have options here. I can continue to lift my knee up and my foot up, or I can open to the side and bring the knee in line with the hip and push it straight back behind me. More back bend here. And then from wherever you are, we're just going to forward fold with wide feet and sway and move in a way that feels good. Legs straight or bent, alternately bending, hands on the floor on your body, or maybe grabbing opposite elbows. And just let it all go. Right? Calm down the breath, the body, the nervous system. Swaying is always a comforting place. Right? We innately understand that rocking our babies soothes them. Rocking our body does the same thing. All right. Soften into the knees, tone the body. Inhale, rise with a neutral spine. We'll do that on the other side. Step into the right foot. Left hand's a platter. Grab the arch of the foot. Find your gazing point, find your root, find your tone and core, and then soften your effort. Right arm reaches forward and up. Flex the left foot as you kick it straight back. Natarajasana, dancer pose. Stay upright. Decide if you like it here, or if you want to then hinge it forward. Maybe taking it to Ardha Chandra Chapasana. I like to do all the versions. They all feel different in my body, and that's a good thing, I think. And you can open it to the side.
from whatever variation you're in. Take another big breath. And then let it all go as we again find a nice wide foot forward fold and some movement. Sway, rock, heavy the head. Deepen into this fold, which helps us cool the body down, but also take our reflection inward. We fold into ourselves, right? Take your energy, your awareness, your mind, your attention inward. Just be there. What is offered here? What is a practical expectation for your efforts? Do you overextend? Or do you not engage too much or at all? Right? We tend to be, as a whole in society, overachievers, burning a candle at both ends, overextending ourselves and saying that's too much. But some of us might say no too much and retreat, disconnect. And so the balance would be to come out of that protective place and say yes more. Just reflect for yourself recent days, weeks, months, and where your balance needs to be found. What direction do you move? We're going to walk the feet together and just give the body a nice, I think, comfy, soft pose. Lift your heels, bend your knees, and come to a little squat. And then let your heels come together, your knees separate, and then your heels push back as you bow inside your thighs into garland pose or malasana. Right? We all know malas because they've been made popular by people wearing them as jewelry. But mala means a strand, right? A garland, a strand of something. Right? I don't know why this pose is called that, but feel your feet, big toe edges of your feet connect. Your heels try to root, your hips get heavy, your head get heavy as your arms stretch the torso out of the hips. The back can round here nice and comfortably because our legs are bent. And so now the back can stretch without creating danger. And take some moments here with your breath moving into the back of your body. Maybe there's a sway. My ankle's not loving this shape or the movement in it, so I'm just going to find a comfortable place for my body and meet that space with breath. But as you breathe into the back of your body, again, reflect to the recent past and where you can make any changes for better balance in your day, tending to your needs and the needs of others. We have one more challenge for your balance. We can take an inversion, or if you're already like, no, thank you, it's not part of my practice to keep me safe and balanced, you're going to balance on your toes and just take the hands away from the floor. So either challenging your balance in toe stand, or we're going to do headstand. So you always have a wall if you want the wall, but I just want to show you a very supportive structure for setting up headstand. Want elbows shoulder width apart, and resist the urge to bring your hands to your elbows because that's going to bring one elbow in front of the other, right? That's not balance. So you can see what elbows under shoulders looks like. So just look, right? Use your eyes, use your body awareness. And then clasp your hands in the middle. I tuck my one pinky underneath so they're not crisscrossed. That's too much annoyance and uncomfortable place for my pinky. Right? So once you have your hands clasped, you're gonna bring the head down inside the hands. I don't go to that flat spot on my head. Think about it. The flat spot on your head was actually the last part of your skull that fused together, and that's not stable or strong. It also doesn't support the natural curve of our neck. So think about the place of your head that comes in between the hands as right behind the hairline, where that suture is. That's the strongest part of your skull, and it keeps our neck in its natural curve. So play with that a little bit. Don't think tucking the chin into your neck and getting that very top flat part of your head to the ground. It's actually not a very good place to do a headstand from. Right, so elbows straight on your shoulders, clasped hands, head comes down. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and just decide how that feels. Lifting the knees, not the hips. When you lift the knees, a lot of weight goes into your head and your arms. We do want the head to take a fair amount of weight. It is called headstand. If that creates something weird in your vision or hearing or even tasting, those are all indications of not a good sign of going any further. So you come down. If you're good with knees lifted, try to hug the midline as you press the floor away so strongly that both knees can lift into the chest and the feet come together. So as opposed to splitting the legs and kicking up, because that shifts the hips off balance, which will maybe put you out of balance. You can over muscle that. And just because you have the muscular strength to do that, it's not super supportive in creating the balance. Right? There's not the ease there. It's just all effort. We don't want to over effort this. So try it. You can always just walk the feet in so the hips stack the shoulders, and that's going to give you, again, a place of checking in. Do I feel like I want to continue? Can the knees just squeeze in and the feet lift? Then the knees can go over the hips. My heels are still with my hips. And then I can readjust my shoulders, pull them away from the floor, pull them away from the head, push the floor away, squeeze the midline, lift the feet. And then I can start to strengthen and lengthen up. So once I'm up and finding more balance, I can reaffirm my root, scoop the tail under, point the toes, hug the midline, and create that balanced place of effort and ease. Once the joints stack with muscular tone, we feel the harmony. And then I like to come out the same way. Hips can go back as the knees come forward and the heels drop to the hips. Hips go back for the knees to come in and down. Feet touch, knees touch, elbows go wide. Untuck the toes and just roll the forehead to the mat. Pause here. It's a neutral place for the spine and the neck, and then when you feel like you've taken a few breaths, slowly push the floor away and come to sit. And reflect. Yoga is about doing and then receiving. Reflect, how'd that go? Did it show you maybe a cycle of patterned behavior where you just over effort things, or you do things because you should, or because you want to? The yes to all of those questions doesn't mean that it brought you into a place of balance and harmony. So reflect upon that. Where can you soften your effort? Where can you do more? And where can you do less to create the harmony? All right, let's come on to the back. Give your knees a nice big hug and some movement to massage your lower back or your whole back. We're just going to end with a nice twist. Keeping your right knee, stretch your left leg long on the mat. Right foot down so you can scoot your hips to the right, and then bring the right knee up and cross the right leg to the left. Move on the floor so you feel equal balance of weight, right and left shoulder. Keeping the left hip in line with your head. That's why we scooch the hips to the right first. And then decide, does your right leg want to stay bent or straighten? You can hold any portion of the right leg with your left hand. Maybe you can get the foot. Regardless of what your right leg is doing, feel your right hip move away from the ribs as your right shoulder pins down on the mat. And then as we're twisting around our center and bringing out our core, give yourself a moment to reflect upon a core belief that you have about your balance in life. Do you only feel worthy if you're overextending yourself at work? Because that's an idea you have of success. Just challenge those core beliefs.